there it is. There you have it, Luke Moore. The third round weekend of the FA Cup is done and dusted for another year. But wasn't it great?
It was fantastic. And I said to everyone listening on Friday, there will be upsets. You just got to know where to find them. And I'd love to know if our listeners found them. If they suspected them, they sniffed them out, and they saw them. Because they were there to be had.
Well, and there's another one to be had tonight, of course. Dag and Red go to Mill.
The Daggers.
Yes.
Nice.
Setting up a potential fourth round clash between Leeds and Millwall.
Do you want to hear my? I've got
clash. It would be the right word.
I've got a pretty well trodden and probably well told, or regularly told story about Dagenham and Redbridge.
Oh yeah.
Is that my friend at uni was dating John Still, who was the manager of Dagenham and Redbridge.
He was.
Back then.
Did very well, John Still.
Daughter.
Oh right.
And he asked John Still if he could come see him at work next week or whatever. And the reason was he wanted to ask John Still if he could ask his daughter to marry him. And so he turned up there and went into the office at Dagenham and Redbridge with John Still, just two of them, and he asked all the coaches to leave and all the rest of it. And he sat down and said to John Still, John, I really love your daughter, and I wonder if you'd give me permission to ask her to marry me. And John Still went, oh, fucking hell. Thank fuck for that. I thought you were going to ask for a trial. I've seen you play your shit. I don't know how to tell you.
Good old John Still.
So good luck to them tonight.
Good luck to them tonight.
Yeah.
Well,
there's some great action. Can we all agree around this table right now that we had some great action at the weekend?
Yeah, and there were some, to use the word that we were using on Friday, there were some murders.
There was an attempted murder at Tamworth.
Oh, there was. and that's what was. By the way, someone pointed out to me that Taggart ran till 2010, so it's not that old a reference.
1983 to 2010. Great run for it.
Great run.
Give it respect. These probably deserves more respect. 27 years as a show.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Deserves to be more than just a footnote for me. Deserves to be up there alongside your Morses of this world.
We're paying ourselves on the back for a reference that's 15 years old. It's only 15 years old.
But to us, 2010 is like a couple of years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, Vish.
Yeah, you like the in-betweeners.
Who won the World Cup in 2010?
I don't actually.
Who won the World Cup in 2010?
There you go.
Ooh.
Embarrassing, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
That's bad, isn't it?
That's why we don't get paid as much as us.
Tamworth.
Everyone knows it was Germany.
Tamworth.
So I'm way down on my two belts.
Spain beat Netherlands in the final.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tamworth 0, Spurs 3, brackets AET. Oh, Tottenham. They needed extra time.
AET stands for After Emergency Therapy.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with extraterrestrial. There's an old reference for you. Now, Tottenham needed extra time to see off the National League side, Tamworth. And I'll tell you something, the whole country nearly went bananas.
We said it was primed. We zeroed in on this game and said, this is the one. We said, Axton aren't going to beat Liverpool. Salford aren't going to beat Man City.
Yep.
But this one, it could be a nugget there. There could be a little gem of an idea there.
When the ball dropped to your man in the 96th minute.
Oh,
that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine the scenes of celebration around the country? But it wasn't to be, Vish. And, of course, there are no replays. We spoke about the controversial decision to scrap replays on the mailbag, which was released on Saturday. So do get your chops around that, because Andy and Luke had very strong opinions on that, and I agree.
We also predicted that Tottenham would win after extra time, and therefore Tamworth wouldn't get a replay.
You'll have to listen to that to believe it. It may well have been edited out.
You might miss it.
But I mean, it is a shame for Tamworth that they don't have a replay. I mean, Vish, before we came in the studio, you did a quick calculation in your brain.
It wasn't my calculation.
And you said that they're going to miss out on sort of £800,000 or £900,000.
Yeah, that's what
should have been a hell of a slap-up meal.
Kieran Maguire on
X
saying that that's how much it would have been. I mean, I suppose there's the flip side of, I mean, it would have been great if they were able to do it. And I suppose what ultimately won out was Spurs' superior fitness rather than skill.
And their subs.
And their
bringing on like £100 million of talent.
Yeah. I mean, that happens when there's 96 places between you.
Yeah.
But I suppose their best chance of winning would have been penalties, from that point on.
You are, to me,
come to pass.
If you're scrapping replays, you've got to go straight to pens.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. If the problem is they're playing too much football, don't tack on another 30 minutes you're pushing players into the red zone if you really give a shit about that kind of stuff.
Because seriously, one of the Tamworth wingers is working at Zara tonight, and he can't do another 40. So we need to do it quickly if we can.
Well, a little word for Tom Tonks, the wonderful named.
Oh, that was the most remarkable part of the whole thing for me. For several reasons.
He looked 20 years older than any Spurs player.
He looks about 60. Two, he's called Tom Tonks. Three, he's got an amazing throw, which we all know about now.
Yeah.
And he quite literally has been able to. I mean, he got subbed off in the 84th minute when they had a clean sheet. It's job well done. It was still 0-0.
Shot window.
Against like some pretty big name midfield players, and he literally can't run. He cannot run. Like if you are someone who's played football at any level and you can't run, you start to do things that you have to do because you can't run. He does all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he was able to keep them out, be a massive part of it for 84 minutes. I thought that was remarkable. I thought the whole thing was remarkable. I'm very, very passionate to make sure that we do not talk about this game as just, Spurs scraped through, they got it done, it was 3-0. Like, they shouldn't get away with what happened just because they managed to bang a few goals in extra time, because 96 places. This team, they're not even a full-time team. Right? These guys don't play football as professional athletes. Yeah. And Spurs couldn't beat them in 90 minutes. You know, it has to be said over and over again that, of course, the headlines with Spurs are in the hat. I don't know who they've got in the next round. I can't remember. But they made it through. But this was remarkable stuff. You know, Tom Tonks doesn't play football full-time because he runs his own sandwich business.
Yeah.
He's playing up against Yves Bissouma.
Yes.
One of the most celebrated midfield players in the Premier League, probably, when he's on form, on song.
I think you've slightly exaggerated that, but your point is he's an established Premier League player for Spurs. That's enough.
Yeah.
What you're also saying is that the occasion was such that Tom Tonks brought his newborn son out as the mascot, who looks adorable by the way, who's called Theo Owen David Tonks.
Lovely. TT, though, another one.
He moved from Brighton to Spurs for 30 million because he was too good for Brighton.
Look, fine. Look, I'm just saying. Okay. Yeah. The moment of the whole weekend for me was when Hollis does that little...
the roulette.
The roulette.
That's great. It's fantastic.
Wonderful.
I was told that in America that was called the Jamaican roll once.
I would not listen. We've got a lot of American listeners. And 2/3 of the people in this room have American wives.
Yeah.
One each. Some of their football chatter terminology is nonsense.
Okay. I'm glad you said that.
Don't they call it a nutmeg something different on the continent as well? They call it a tunnel, don't they, or something? Or in South America or something, they call it a canyo or something like that, which means
I get that.
Yeah. Jamaican roll's great. I'm happy with that.
Anyway, Hollis did a Jamaican roll.
He did, it was brilliant.
And Tom Tonks will be serving up a Jamaican roll this morning.
The reason it was so good is partly because it looked better because he simply didn't realise the other player was there.
Yes,
He did it to get away from one player closing in. I think Bergvall was also that he didn't know, and it made it look like twice as good.
Oh, it was Zidane, Euro 2000 stuff.
And then 5 minutes after, he cleared one off a line. I can do it all.
Yeah,
I did expect, just because Ange loves his defenders to be ball players, I like the idea that he's almost going Michael Caine in Muppets Christmas Carol. You boy! Get over here.
It's also worth pointing out that Tamworth had to pull the Sunday League move of getting someone on someone else's shoulders and taping up the net.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's amazing.
And I mean, I know they say that professional footballers, obviously, they're not used to playing competitive football on the fake pitch, but I mean it's not that much of a leveller, is it? 96 places.
But it eases different things, doesn't it? So like their passing would be a lot smoother rather than if they were on I
don't think it is, I think the pitches at the top level are so good now. They're I don't think that's an accurate thing.
But compared to what the pitch would have been if it was live grass.
Well, look at Tamworth.
At Tamworth, it would have been cut up.
I'd have preferred
that.
We can give them a bit of leeway and say, okay, you're not used to that service, and the ball does run slightly different. Again, when you're that level of athlete, there's just a slight little like different football, for example. So I think,
and they're conditioned to give them something. They're conditioned. To play a certain way on certain pitches, as you say,
it's just an adjustment.
I agree with that. I'm just saying, I suppose there is that, but as Luke said there, you're just better footballers as well.
Indeed.
So, my take on the plastic pitch side of things. It's not a plastic pitch,
rubber, but little rubber.
Is actually it's the speed of the ball on the bounce.
Yeah.
and the height of the ball and the bounce. That's the main difference that I can discern from watching it. I don't actually. I think the pitches now, bearing in mind those Desso pitches in the top of the Premier League, or actually all across the Premier League now, are essentially half artificial anyway.
Yeah, hybrid pitches. Yeah.
I think it's what it is the lack of give in the surface rather than the smoothness of it. I think, and regardless of that, Spurs have to make an adjustment. And the thing about this is, it's not like. They were the better team. They came out through. They were much better in extra time, as you'd expect. But it wasn't really a kind of. It was chance after chance after chance after chance. I think it took quite a long time for Spurs to have a shot on target.
They slipped Timo Werner in once.
That was I don't think that was the first shot on target, but it's definitely one of the first.
Were you worried that Tamworth would go a goal?
No, absolutely not.
I think everybody. Poor old Timo. He's
Big Pav told me he's played against Jazz Singh in the Tamworth goal.
Oh yeah.
I said, what was he like? He said he was the best keeper on the pitch that day.
Well, yeah, perhaps the best keeper on the pitch on this occasion.
Kinski was good. Kinski did everything that was asked of him. I've seen him play twice now for Spurs. I don't think I've seen him drop a single catch. He looks very, very solid.
Bearing in mind he's only been in England for about 10 days. He kept a clean sheet against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And Tamworth.
Yeah.
It's a clean sheet. Yeah. A clean sheet.
But what I also loved about this is Tamworth did exactly what they were supposed to do along players like McGlinchey and Creaney. You have to grab those two centre-backs, particularly Gray, who's young and, is playing against like seasoned men, you have to drag him into it. And Dragusin massively got dragged into it. He was wrestling around every single set piece. And that's what you've got to do that because it's a big leveller. And I also think that Pedro Porro, although he did okay overall, he got in a bit of trouble with Anaru. And Anaru, I know that pace is a big level at any level. Yes, if you get someone to ball out their feet and they can run fast, it sounds basic, but that is a factor. Porro, I think Anoro got in his head a bit, and Porro found it a little bit tricky. He got booked. He was getting involved in stuff on the touchline. They did everything they were supposed to do, Tamworth, and they did it really well. And I feel sad for them. They didn't come out of this with anything, and they should, as Vish rightly says, they should have come out of it with a replay, but that's not their fault. And it was a sickener that the first goal was an own goal.
I know.
That was really because your heart goes off. That's a heartbreaker, isn't it? That?
Yeah, you almost want Solanke to put that in. Was it Solanke there or whoever it was?
It was Solanke. Yeah.
What did you think when young Chris Ray came on, Vish?
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that was pretty remarkable,
great story.
Really. Yeah,
especially with his old man being a former Arsenal man. You thought, oh, surely, if there's a drop of magic about this time, surely this is the man to do it.
I mean, I suppose that's the other thing that we should give Tamworth credit for is because. Rather than just look at the fact that there are 96 places between them, they clearly identified the fact that Spurs like to play a certain way. There are going to be spaces in the middle for us to drive into and exploit. Why don't we just have a bit of fun with it? Because they were the ones, essentially, I suppose, injecting the impetus into the game. You got the impression a few times, and it might be the pitch or whatever, but Spurs seemed more flat-footed than they normally would be, almost to the point of maybe we don't have to really go at them in waves. We can knock the ball around, and you could see they felt a bit uncomfortable doing that. I think they'd rather have that cycle of rather recycle play and keep going in waves and stuff like that. And they couldn't really.
I just also think that James Maddison is exactly the player you don't want when things don't go that well at the start to be running the show for you away from home in that kind of game. I just think he comes across as such a prima donna. He's always on the floor complaining about stuff. He tries too hard to do stuff. He was a bit unlucky with one or two chances early on, but I just thought they can get at him. He's the kind of player they can get. It's a bit, almost a bit like Grealish. You can get at him and you can...
You get in his head.
You can sideline him from the game because he kind of can't focus. If I was a Spurs fan, I'd be super frustrated with him. And it's also worth pointing out that Tamworth had 13 shots.
Yeah.
Given they only had 22% of the ball, it does show you in its own way that they were able to threaten.
All this chat, I keep replaying that chance they had.
That was the one. That was the one. He just didn't get hold of it, did he?
I'm not saying
it was a snapshot. He didn't get hold of it,
and it comes to him quick. And so I don't want to blame. It is funny though when Tamworth, towards the end of the game, they break forward, and you're thinking, right, what you got to do, and then there's like a wayward cross, and you kind of go, oh yeah, you are a National League side,
or they haven't quite got the quickness of thought to properly thrust through a move in the counter-attack.
Yeah.
It's not as automatic as it is for Premier League teams.
Indeed, and it's funny, isn't it? Because when one was younger, you would think, oh, maybe could I play national? Like, they are incredibly good footballers, but you are comparing them against elite. Elite, exactly. I know that's such a basic point to make, but one can be sucked into it when you're watching this type of game, because rarely do we see a side like that against the Premier League side.
But I would say as well, I mentioned Yves Basuma negatively earlier, just in comparison to Tommy Tonks, but he did kind of show his quality, kind of ran the show a bit. It was very Rolls Roycey from Basuma. It's just that like the other players couldn't finish the job really. And all the key areas that Tamworth had to target, like I said, the centre backs, they targeted the goalkeeper quite a lot, but he stood up to it. They targeted Mikey Moore a lot. I mean, I think it was Ian Wright in the game before was saying, in the coverage before was saying, look, it's an old kind of thing to say, but he's playing against men. He's a young lad. He's learning his trade. He's going to play against men. They're going to make it tough for him. They're going to be physical, and they were. And he found that a different type of challenge, if you like, as well.
Totally, yeah. I really wanted Tamworth to get a dubious penalty because imagine Ange. There's no VAR, mate. It's what you want.
Ange got a big welcome, didn't he, as well? Did you see that? The fans were giving him a good old... To be fair to him, he was all for
I
it.
think he loves that.
I do as well.
think Ange would
Australian, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. No, I think he would
he's a good as they say in Australia.
Yeah.
I think he would have enjoyed it, and then after about an hour, he would have been going, "Oh bloody hell, lads, get us out of here with a win for Gordon Bennett."
But, I mean, we should really be sympathetic towards Tamworth for not getting that big money replay which they deserved. They would have got money for the TV coverage, of course, and they would have, put some on the map and all the rest of it. But they did themselves absolutely proud. That's not a patronising thing to say.
But they did.
Outstanding performance of the weekend, which is why it's at the top of the show today. I think, and rightly so.
Damn right. But we are going to move on to would you call this a giant killing? Brentford 0, Plymouth 1. It's certainly a cup set.
Plymouth have just had to sack Wayne Rooney because they've been so poor.
Would you call Brentford a giant?
Yeah, not sacked. He left because he was like, I can't do anything.
I can't do anything.
I know, yeah.
Brentford is a giant because Brentford are amazing at home.
True, and it's the biggest murder of the weekend, the FA Cup murder. I think we can all agree. Plymouth being bottom of the Championship as well, as you say. It's not like they are, in the playoff mix or something like that. Their new manager, Miron Muslic, was watching from the stands. My goodness, he must have thought to himself, bloody hell, I'm inheriting a good side here. Whatever you do, don't look at the table.
Yes, slash.
You'd think he would do his due diligence, but still.
Yeah, I'm inheriting a good side here, or slash... God, I should have probably taken this one, shouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly. Should have got in there earlier,
even if I just wore the coat.
Yeah.
Could have seen I'm in charge. Fuck.
Yeah, no, I think he knows what he's doing. Brentford, of course, won 7 out of 10 at home in the Premier League this season, but they don't have a particularly good FA Cup record.
They have a bad FA Cup record.
Yeah, but not a particularly good record was me doing them a too good a service.
But it feels like they have a bad FA Cup record because of what football is to them and kind of what it's become more broadly about sustaining your league position in the Premier League or getting to the Premier League, because it's always seems to be the case that it's just not a priority for them. Mm-hmm. And you could understand that to a point from a Brentford perspective. Like, I was speaking to a Brentford mate of mine after this result, and he was like, kind of annoying. I was there and it would have been nice to see something, but we've not complained about this before because we've been like, right, got to get to the Premier League. How good would that be? We're in the Premier League. That's the most important thing. And they're almost conditioned to that in their own way. Yeah. Brentford fans, Brentford the club as a whole, to be like, well, we're established here, and that's the most important thing for us, which is dispiriting. But it's not Brentford's fault that that's the case. That's the nature of the game. They're just trying to roll the dice, and
But are they not now in the position as of this season, really, where they should be pushing really hard for the FA Cup?
I agree with you.
I think that more broadly, yeah. Absolutely they should, especially where they're now... Look, you've got that. Mm. I know they haven't been great away from home this year, but they're not going to get relegated. If you're going to...
there's no way they'll get relegated.
If you're broadly happy with your status in, that kind of middle part of the league... This is what it's about then, isn't it? Totally. Going on these cup runs, and they haven't been past the fourth round since 18-19 when they got to the fifth round.
It's 200 years ago.
Yeah, they are.
5 years ago. Yeah, bloody hell, it's crazy. I would just say that all that chat we had on Saturday about the lack of replays. Well, if there's a set of teams or a profile of team, if you like, that is suited by a lack of replays, it's like a team like Brentford. You're only really three 3 home games away from doing something good in the FA Cup because, you haven't got to go to replay. So say you draw, get Man United at home or whatever. You fancy yourself with your home record to maybe, even if it's tough, to do them an extra time or do them on pens. You haven't got to go to Old Trafford if you draw. So it's kind of a bit like that. And for them to... So that's really disappointing because I think you're in a position now where you establish yourself in the Premier League. You go, right, the FA Cup just simply isn't that important to a load of big teams. So we could do something here. And obviously they've been rolled over at home by Plymouth, who are poor overall. But the second thing is, really disappointingly, from what I saw of the game, they bring all these players in who don't really get to start. And you think, right, this is a chance for you to really do something at home against a team of players who, with respect, aren't as good as you. They're showing that they were.
The Championship.
Yeah, and it doesn't really work. And they have to bring Wisser on, they bring Mbuemo on, they bring Lewis Potter on. These players they bring on who don't really make it happen either. And it's just a super disappointing weekend for them. What I would say is... the Plymouth goal was absolutely brilliant.
Beauty.
Yeah.
Morgan Whittaker cutting inside. That's another really disappointing thing for Brentford, actually, not to make it all about them. Morgan Whittaker gets the ball, drifts inside. No one engages.
Do you see Johan
Just
Visser?
bring him down if you need to do so. Just stop him doing it.
Yeah.
Johan Visser gets back to, basically in front of his own box. And it almost like, am I being paid for this weekend? I'll do this. I'll get back. I'm not going to engage him. I've got back. Yeah.
I think it's incredibly disappointing from Brentford's point of view. I understand that the winner of the tie will host Liverpool in the next round. Of course, that's Plymouth.
But it's at home for Plymouth, so it could have been at home for Brentford.
Well, it could have been at home
a great
for Brentford.
chance.
Exactly. Yeah. I just think that, like from me being a Fulham fan, I know Fulham hosted a Championship side on Thursday.
They were going to whoop it as well, didn't they? They won't do that again, will they? They've learnt their lesson, Watford.
Yes, but Fulham are
Just
away.
to sting out the Hornets, didn't they?
Yes, absolutely, and all that. And Fulham have, what is it, Mansfield or Wigan in the next round? I think it's definitely Wigan or I think it's Mansfield.
Hey, look at his face, He's very happy with that.
Look, I was delighted with it, and then you suddenly,
blood.
and then you think, oh, yeah, but it could be embarrassing. But the fact is, the fact is, it's still in the cup, and Brentford are a similar profile of side to Fulham. I know they,
they are totally,
but they are,
yeah.
And cup runs and so on. Fulham got to the semi-final of the League Cup last season, and of course were beaten by Liverpool inevitably. But it was exciting to go that far, and you think, Brentford surely got to show a bit more in the cup. But there we are. They're at. But Plymouth, wonderful for them, and obviously the financial incentives aren't as obvious to Plymouth as they would be to say someone like Tamworth. But Plymouth, it's a shoestring budget for a Championship club, so good for them to get into the fourth round as well.
For those of you who are kind of continually banging the drum that Wayne Rooney's a good guy, he was absolutely delighted on his Instagram.
Yeah,
he shared loads of stories about how pleased he was for Plymouth to do that, and how pleased he was for the caretaker Kevin. Is it Nankerville?
That's right. Yeah,
it was very emotional.
Yeah, who said himself after the game, the players did so well against Brentford because they were so guilty about what they did to Wayne Rooney.
Oh right,
yeah.
Well, I tell you what, you'd fancy. Surely Wayne will be welcome.
Get him back.
Surely, surely he will be welcome.
Can I just do the cup games? I don't know why he's from Yorkshire, but can I just do the cup games?
Surely he'll be welcome for the meeting of Liverpool. Down on the coast.
Cheerleader.
Surely,
yeah.
he'll be there.
I'll tell you what. If I was David Moyes, I'd get him in as the old assistant.
Would you?
Oh yeah,
that'd be a nice move.
Chiefly, the only reason for that was because I personally like him. So I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Do you think Wayne saw Tommy Tonks? No, hold on.
I'll tell you now.
Oh, here we go.
If Tommy Tonks played exactly like Wayne Rooney would have played in the midfield for Tamworth.
Emergency
just without the quality. And not the throw-in.
Emergency signing. Coming up after this, Manchester United and Arsenal played out another FA Cup ding-dong.
What do you expect from this game?
They're footballers, so we're footballers, so it's going to be a game of football.
Cardiff Ollie Tanner there before their third round tie against Sheffield United.
Was he wrong? He wasn't wrong, was he?
Certainly wasn't wrong, no. If you stay that close to the shore, you're never going to drown, are you? Thanks to friend of the Ramble, Mike, for sending us that clip. You can become a friend of the Ramble too by heading over to patreon.com/Football Ramble. You'll get access to the Discord where you can chat with us and other Ramble listeners and get ad-free episodes of the Ramble up front and on the continent, all for just $5 a month. You'll also get an extended version of every Wednesday Ramble. To listen, head over to patreon.com/Football Ramble and sign up now.
It was great over the FA Cup weekend. It really was. And also, they broke the news to me over the last couple of days that Steven Gerrard is being linked with a Poland national team job.
Blimey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How about that?
There we go.
Right then, teaming up again with Matty Cash.
I think it said Poland. One of the people on Discord was saying it might be the Poundland team.
Oh, dear.
That's the kind of chat you get on there, Marcus. If that doesn't encourage people to join, I don't know what will.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Arsenal 1, Manchester United 1. Manchester United would win 3-5 on pens. Vish, you've kept pretty quiet up till now. Hey, it was your day, mate. It was your day. They did it for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on.
there's a lot to be said for the nourishing power of 2 draws in regular time in the space of a week.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, but genuinely, like it's.
I remember the treble in 99.
I do actually. Yeah.
I remember he won the World Cup in 2010, though, does he?
Yeah, it wasn't my team, was it?
Was it your team? It wasn't, was it? Not Man United, was it? No.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was really funny.
It was a throwback, this game, a bit.
It was a bit.
yeah.
And you know what? I didn't buy into it. Wait. I didn't buy into it in the lead up because, you know, the BBC do this thing of where they don't show Premier League games,
Yep.
but they pick this, you know, Premier League ties in the
annoying.
FA Cup. Yeah.
West Ham Villa, same thing.
And they're like, oh, you know, they try and build it up as like almost to show, like, so see, we can do this. It's not just Sky and all that.
Oh, it's Wenger v Ferguson.
And they really built.
It's Oasis v Blur.
Yeah, exactly. And they really built up that tension. And for most of the first half, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then the second half, they were like, let's have a tear up.
Yes. Yeah.
It was very much a throwback. I think that's the right thing to say. That's how I saw it. For sure.
Who did you think were the Beatles and who were the Stones in this? No, I know what you
It was
mean.
Britain versus Argentina, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oi, come on.
No?
Very Tudors and Stuarts at certain points, isn't it?
It was the House of York versus the House of Lancaster.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Now you are talking.
It was the English versus the Huguenots.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the Huguenots actually fought. I think it might not have been the English.
Right, okay.
Yeah, carry on.
The
But
T-Rex
I'm sure they had a go at
against the
some point.
Raptors type thing.
No, I don't know, Vish. But what was
It
funny
was the
is
first tetrapods that came out of the water versus the land.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think when Pangea split. What was that one? Anyway, it was great though because when the penalty was given and it all got a bit tetchy.
And then the sign came down and says dinosaurs ruled the earth. Yeah, brilliant. Loved it.
But Harry Maguire nutted them all. Got him over on the commentary.
space.
He couldn't help himself. And he went, "Oh, it's Arsenal versus Manchester United."
Yeah.
He might as well have just gone, "We're back. We are back."
Graham Sinners, we got our game back.
That's what I thought. We've got a game. Look, it was a good game. And Manchester United have marched through into the 4th round. I said it the other day, and I will say it again. Arsenal are Spursing things up. They really are.
I do not think they're spursing things up because they're not doing it in an entertaining way.
True.
Like, no,
Were you not entertained, to quote the...
I was
and the
very.
fans weren't angry enough to be Spurs.
Well, I don't know. They were a bit by the end of it.
Arsenal fans don't do anger like Spurs fans do.
No, that's fair. Yeah, but there was a real sense with what's happening with Arsenal that the flaws only become apparent as the game wears on. They can have all the possession. They love crossing.
They do.
Big fans of crosses, and yet even then, like when they had that final cross in the 121st minute, you're like, "What?" I mean, they still have a chance here.
Yeah.
And it just didn't play out, and it's really interesting where Arsenal are at this point because it feels like Arteta has gone too far in trying to get the Premier League trophy. He's almost kind of thought, right, the attack's going to sort itself out. We've got to be more robust. We've got to be stronger.
Don't lose games.
And they've essentially, they're like a bloke who goes to the gym to get good at whatever sport he plays and spends too much time there. And they've lost their agility to a point. And that comes with their ability to like change shape or just create little, little moments of creativity, I suppose.
Just a bit more
little moments of
intricacy
magic.
and so on.
But they're also suffering from players missing. They're also suffering from a lack of.
Yeah, I mean,
they are.
Come on, but I think Vish's point is the fact is that okay, fine. So, but look at the side they had against Manchester United. You've got Odegaard in that. I understand.
To be fair, and also to be fair, they missed 3 brilliant chances to win.
But that's kind of feeds into your point, though, doesn't it?
Lack of cutting edge is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and it's quite extraordinary because if you look at Arsenal in the league, The plus 21 goal difference. Only Liverpool have got a better goal difference. They are, Liverpool and Spurs are the only sides that have scored more goals than Arsenal in the league. So on that, you think, well, there's goals in this side. And there are goals in that side. We know that. It's painfully obvious. But for some reason, when it comes to the crunch, a lot of people, myself included, don't really trust them. And I know that on another day they win that game, and Arteta says, but the fact that they didn't win that game, look at them against Newcastle. And people can say, well, you're cherry-picking results, but you can go even back to last season against, I've mentioned it before, Bayern in the Champions League. When it comes to these one-off games where it's like, right, there's a lot riding on this, they don't seem to be able to do it.
You're not cherry-picking, chiefly because we're possibly in the middle of the week that ruins their entire season.
Yeah, well,
because they play Spurs on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If they don't win that, league's probably gone.
I mean,
and the biggest, I know this is a cup game, but just very quickly, the biggest, the kind of severest or most severe indictment you could lay at their door is just that there's no title race, not because Liverpool won't slip up, because they might. There's still a few unknowns about Liverpool. We just don't trust Arsenal to do anything about it.
No.
That's the problem.
Yes.
And it's not as though the feeling they had when they were gunning for the title against Man City was that like they were snap at their heels the whole time.
Yes.
For large parts of those seasons, they were top, right? They were doing their thing.
They were brilliant last season.
And it's not the feeling. It's not a feeling like that now. It might just be they've exhausted themselves from those two big title pushes. But there's not even they obviously can't even do a thing where they go, but Saka will bail us out because Saka's not there because he's missing. So it all just feels a little bit predictable. I know the players they played in midfield against Man City were different, but I thought the balance of their midfield doesn't look right. It didn't look right against Newcastle at all.
Marino's not worked, has he come
Not
in?
so far.
I don't really know what he does.
He scored that header in the Euros against Germany.
And did a lovely celebration.
Yeah. What more do you want?
That was a good
I thought Arteta. I thought we'll have him.
And also, and another damning indictment of them would be that on the Man United side of it, reference specifically this game, we talked in the build-up about how Amorim keeps crying out for getting time with the players, and we talked about them playing against Liverpool. Was it a flash in the pan? Is he doing something here? Looks like he is doing something. But having said that, because the intensity they've got now, but having said that, they kind of did their best to self-immolate. Like, I mean, Dallo making that challenge on the yellow is crazy. It was just crazy. And you're away from home, and you're going to go to extra time. It's going to get very difficult. Odegaard misses a penalty, which is a golden opportunity. So, I mean, it could have been a story that was quite different, actually.
100%.
And so we can't read too much into the fact there's a couple of incidents that made the story very different. But this is part of a wider pattern for Arsenal, I think. It's all a bit predictable. It's all a bit kind of slow. The tempo feels a bit weird. I should also say, for Man United to have, for Arsenal to have chances to put this game away, David Raya made an amazing save from Xerxes, which was deflected, which would have been a really difficult goal. But he does that thing that he does quite a lot, Raya. He pulled the save up from nowhere. So it could have been different in that way as well.
It could have been different. I think with Arsenal, though, that front line needs a bit of a refresh. And I think people have talked about the lack of striker. And it's funny, isn't it? And Jim said this recently on the pod. It always seems like Arsenal, there's always an obvious position they don't fill with, in transfer windows. It was that lack of defensive midfielder under Wenger. I mean, how long did that go on for, season after season after season? And it seems to be like the striker position or something. I think with Arteta, what they did last season, he's basically trusted those players to go and do it again. And he's brought in a couple of Calafiore, obviously, and Marino being the obvious two. You need to refresh a bit more. You need something, unless you are like a winning machine like Man City were under Guardiola for a bit, a fair old bit, a record-breaking bit. You do need that refresh. Liverpool this season are an outlier. In fact, the refresh was the manager. I know they didn't sign anybody in the summer, but they'd already put in a lot of groundwork, and it was quite obvious that it was there. But they need to do, if you want to be challenging, you do need to have, whether it's competition for places or a different option or whatever, but it is to stop that inertia, which can happen because of so much football being played and so on and so forth. So I said that I don't think Arsenal are going to win a trophy this season. The League Cup was there. They should have at least drawn the game with Newcastle.
Well, they're not out of the League Cup yet, I guess.
No, they're not, but they've got a huge task now. And this game as well, Manchester United down to 10 men, having got themselves back into it after a lovely Bruno Fernandes goal.
That's a great goal,
we should say. And it's there. And a missed penalty from Odegaard. In fact, I would like to frame it more of a Bayern Deer save, because it was a beautiful save.
Right in the corner.
Oh, my goodness. Full. I mean, he's a tall guy. Was he 6'6"? and he used all of every inch to get into the corner. It was a glorious save, and great for him because he was slagged off a bit for the Spurs for the game at Spurs in the Cup where they lost 4-3. And look at him, he was the hero, Vish, man of the match.
Yeah, he's a bit of a throwback.
Another one
because he can't kick. Like brilliantly, like he drew in the kind of golfing sense every goal kick from the floor, like it all bent out to the wide. The number he kicked out on the full was remarkable. Had quite a poor first half, probably at fault for their goal, and then just played a blinder.
But so it was that, so he's a bit more old school. David Raya is, of course, new school. But when he got to the penalty shootout, it was like, it's my time.
So Raya got nowhere near him.
Raya was, he moved so early.
So like maybe I'm extrapolating a bit too much here, but before the penalties, they showed Raya on the sat in the dugout with 2 or 3 coaches around him, obviously really drilling him on United's penalty takers and where they were going to go. I reckon about 3 pens into that, you should think, they're stuttering every single penalty kick here.
They're waiting for
I should probably hold my ground. And instead he just kept doing the same thing. Didn't dive the right way for every single one, which felt like, I don't know, it felt like it embodied Arsenal at the moment, where it was like, you're too beholden to the numbers to a point and playing the averages here.
And actually, in this kind of situation, when the players are very obviously stuttering to see if the goalkeeper... So for people who listen who don't watch football as much as a lot of other people, they're stuttering to do that because they're trying to get the keeper to move. And they know as soon as the goalkeeper's got weight on one foot or the other, it's because they're top-level athletes with great reactions, they can just put it in the other corner and the keeper can't really do anything about it. You're absolutely right. Raya, I would say after a couple of penalties, just needs to stay on his line. And hope the execution is poor, especially when you're going up against players like the last 3 penalty takers for United were Lenny Yoro. Never seen him take a penalty before. He's a young man, hardly played any football really, in a pressure situation. Lisandro Martinez, who's not a penalty taker, although he can strike the ball well.
Argentina.
Yeah, fine.
Immediately I thought, I've not seen him take a penalty. Argentinian though.
Joshua Zirkzee, who's been credibly linked with a move away from the club, having signed in July for a load of money.
Who also hit his penalty into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Just wait. Wait.
He's the hero. He was subbed off in the first half.
The commentary team.
Yeah.
The commentary team tried to turn that into like a redemption arc for Zirkzee. Like, it's not really, is it? It's called the World Penalty in the third round of an FA Cup.
But because of Arsenal not putting the tie away, Amorim gets to do that. 100%. He gets to say to Binder, Binder himself said, it's incredible what could happen in a week. He suddenly elevated. Zirkzee, who would have been, my goodness, I felt so sorry for the lad. I'm sure we all did when he's taken off the first half. Well, he's scored the winning penalty. There's so many of these individual things. The whole mood is lifted.
Yeah.
And why? Because they've scraped through. They showed character. They didn't show much quality, but they showed character. And Arsenal didn't put them away. And Manchester United have grown that little bit more, just little by little. Yeah, they could be smashed next week or something. But that's
Southampton in midweek. That could be
all right. But another chance to get a bit more momentum in there. But
actually, be queuing for the fucking team bus now.
But these performances and these things help galvanise a team. I mean, the penalty that was given to Arsenal, it was a very poor decision by the referee.
It's not a penalty.
No, it's not a penalty. Of course it wasn't. And that's where those of you who are anti-VAR, I bet you wanted it in that moment, didn't you? unless you were Arsenal fans. I mean, Maguire looked like he was about to chin everybody. I've never seen a man so angry. Although I wasn't.
He did try.
Yeah, I wasn't in Greece when he was there at the time.
But from the players' point of view, on VAR is generally speaking, they just want the decisions to be right? So that's kind of why you do get. I can't speak for all of them, but I've spoken to players, and most of them want VAR because they want. Look, I don't care about all that other shit. I just want this decision.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
That's why Carragher was so for it at the start. And so, from Maguire's point of view on the pitch, you're frustrated because you're like, that's a bullshit decision, and it's not going to be overturned because it can't.
And when you're used to stuff being overturned now for something like that, you'll be like, oh, don't worry, lads, it's fine. And of course, he knows bloody that's been given. And Bruno Fernandes at one point, I don't know if it was during that melee or another occasion, I can't remember, but he threw his boot away, didn't he?
That was when he got booked. That was actually what led to the Gabriel Jesus injury. Jesus is tracking back, accidentally steps on the back of his boot, and then ends up doing his knee.
Yeah, which would look really bad.
Yeah,
and obviously, so Fernandes' boot is kind of off and doesn't get the free kick and chucks it on the floor twice, like a child.
Yeah. He's got a bit of that about him. Though,
100%. But I love him.
Lovely goal though.
Yeah. Also, I didn't realise, you don't realise it in real time, but when they show the replay, the ball goes to him on the bounce and he takes it on the full.
He does.
It's so good.
Wonderful finish.
He executes it like it's a volley.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Amazing finish.
Absolutely wonderful finish.
Yeah.
So it's
The kind of ball that Joshua Zirkzee put across the middle a couple of weeks ago that got scarred over the bar.
Last week. Yeah.
Last week, yeah.
Oh dear. But
Can I throw something into the mix?
you may.
And I realise, we've spoken about him before. And as much as I, as a Manchester United fan, enjoyed how Sunday played out, did any of you feel for Havertz?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Kind of, but mostly no.
But does that not go into the point? Is that with Havertz, you feel for him because of the body language, because of the facial expression.
He wears it. If
If Erling Haaland had a game like that, you wouldn't feel sorry for him because he wouldn't have that body language.
But he's become a lightning rod in the space of. Well, not just in the space of a week, but you think about that miss against Newcastle, and the chances he missed on in this game, particularly the one that was basically under the bar, and he manages to balloon it wide and over.
But again, if Mo Salah has a game like that and misses a chance, you don't feel sorry for him. The reason is because you know he has the character, the quality, and the strength of mind to come back from that, and he will come back from that. Whereas Havertz, he looks like a lost little boy sometimes.
There's definitely a feeling that with him, and I don't mean this in a personal way at all.
Sure.
But there's a feeling that he'll let you down, and when he lets you down, he'll respond badly to it. And I think it's not a coincidence that the way it went at Chelsea was the way it went at Chelsea. Like, obviously, famously quite a ruthless club, difficult for him to get a foothold in it. Didn't that, numbers weren't too bad, given that he's not really a goal scorer necessarily anyway.
Something that one always brings up. He scored the winning goal in the Champions League final.
Exactly. Yeah. But it feels like his time there was perhaps a failure, which is why the move to Arsenal opens up. And his record at Arsenal actually hasn't been too bad. It's been improved on the record at Chelsea. But he's just got that feeling about him where, like, if something goes wrong for him early in a game, it feels like the weight of the world's on his shoulders and he can't snap out of it. Whereas the reason you mentioned Salah there is pretty interesting is because Salah's he treats everything the same. He's just hungry for it.
That's right.
And nothing affects him. And really, the top players, that's what it's all about. They don't let it affect them. And I would say the same in a different way for like someone like the reason that I don't think, for example, like Darwin Núñez is a top player, because there's just too much evidence to show that when it comes to the crunch, probably not for confidence reasons, but for a different reason, he can't get it done. And I always
feel like focus there, you'd say.
I always feel like if you're on an 8-game unbeaten run at Arsenal and you're knocking teams over like they were, Havertz great, brilliant. He'll pop up, he'll score a header, he'll probably score another goal, he'll go on a tear or he'll score a few, and he's fine. When it's fucking hard, I don't know if he can be relied upon. And I think far too often that kind of stuff happens to him. That happened yesterday. That's my take on it. I know it sounds harsh, but I don't.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah.
The other Manchester side are through. Manchester
Salford
City.
Oh, right, okay.
No, Salford's it's its own city.
And nor is Manchester then.
He's trying to defend the BBC here. Again, he's going for the Match of the Day gig. He's like, no, Salford is in Manchester.
Match of the Day gig's already been
They were
given.
right to move, yeah.
It's already been given.
But you're first reserve though, right?
Well, that's what they agreed to make me unchain myself from the building.
All I'm saying is I overheard a conversation Marcus was having on the phone on Friday with someone. I couldn't hear the other end of the thing, and he said...
It was Pete Donaldson.
He said, nice Match of the Day gig you got there. Be a shame if something would happen to it.
Do you not remember when we did our back-to-back? We did 2 live shows in one night.
At Salford?
At Salford, and we were told,
Yeah.
you do not say this is Manchester, this is Salford.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I went, hello, Birmingham. No, anyway, enough of the bollocks. Manchester City beat Salford City 8-0.
Salford City made the big, long trip to Manchester. It's hard for them.
They
Long journey.
they needed to take their passports, but they got thumped 8-0.
Phil Neville couldn't find his passport. Was Phil Neville there?
Why would he have been
Because
there?
he's involved. He's involved in Salford City.
Yeah, but he's more involved in Portland Timbers.
Is he?
Has he been sacked yet? I said that, I thought...
You're the correspondent.
I know, but you never know if he's a...
I did enjoy the fact that if Salford City were owned by anyone else...
4-0.
Man City probably capped that 4-0 final. They were pushing for a 9th.
Yeah.
They were gutted when the referee blew up exactly on 90 minutes.
That's right.
I remember seeing the second half on the bench. I was thinking, Ryan Giggs, you're not standing up as much in the second half, are you? You're not standing up as much now. You're letting Carl Robertson get on with it now, aren't you? Don't want to be involved.
Every time they showed him on screen, you could tell there was a producer's voice going, just don't linger, come on. Move on.
Oh, dear. Was Rhodri there? Either of them?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes and
Either
Giggs.
fucking hell.
Giggs was on the bench. Either of them.
I don't know.
Do you think he had a half and half scarf?
I think both Rhodris would have enjoyed that. All I'm saying. Oh dear, poor man. James McAtee scored a hat trick.
I think it's a really good player. I know
who are they going to sell him to?
But this is the thing. I know
Who are they going to sell him to, and who's he going to run from the middle? A la Cole Palmer.
I know they're only up against Salford City, who aren't in their level, aren't in their league, quite literally. But
Different postcode.
Slightly different postcode.
Which is what Ryan said.
But Man City are in a bit of a... I mean, it's obviously crazy to say now, but they've gone like 4 games unbeaten City. And given the season they've had, there's a bit of a platform now to move forward. I know one of the games is against Salford, but they're actually starting to put together some results now, right? But when you see not just McAtee, but other players they've got coming through the ranks, and obviously knowing the history of the players that have come through, have gone and played elsewhere and done really well, you just think... I wonder why he didn't really start playing a lot more of these young players when they're having a real difficult time of it. It's fresh. Yeah. These players are hungry. They want to do well. Someone like McAtee's a good example. Done 2 seasons against Sheffield United? At Sheffield United, was brilliant in the Championship. Emerged with some credit from in the Premier League. Clearly got an amazing amount of ability. I wonder why they didn't play him more. And it will just feel a bit of a shame if for the next 3-4 months you don't see much of him again. Yeah, because that fosters a Cole Palmer type situation where he's like, I am good enough. You should play me. And Guardiola's saying, well, I can't play you because Mercury's in retrograde and the algorithm says you can't do more than 14 minutes a game, so you're not playing. And that's it,
Well, it is. And I think that shows you where his head was at when it was all going crazy, month or two ago, whenever it was. And you can argue still that they're in that slight haze of that, is that he felt like, we've got to keep on doing what made us great. We've got to keep on doing it. And we've got to, and I remember, when his time started to wane at Barcelona in that final season, it was like he was desperately trying to chase after himself.
Yeah. And overthinking.
And I've had that impression
get out of his own way.
Yeah, I had that impression of Guardiola this season so far. I think we all have, in that specific kind of, we've got to fight. Where's the form? Whereas actually just mixing up, you're right, chucking in James McAtee and going, all right, go and do it. It's a big pressure on the young lad. And I'm not saying, therefore all problems would have been solved, but I'm surprised maybe he didn't do that. Although you could say that, like, Rico Lewis has been starting ahead of Kyle Walker of late and stuff, so maybe, are we, yeah.
I mean, it would take a superhuman level of perspective to look at the players who've been so good for you for so long.
Yeah.
Like, record-breaking squad, essentially, and be like, right, I need to discard. Yeah,
but it got
6
so
of these
bad.
in the moment. I agree with that,
didn't it?
But I can understand why he persisted with those players.
Would you have, okay, look at it another way. Would you have been happy for Pep then in this game against Salford to bring Rhodri Giggs on for the last 10?
You know what? Yeah, yes.
It's already like 8-0.
Savage, Rhodri Giggs.
Nothing could go wrong.
Rodri looking over at the bench.
Rhodri scoring the 9th, going past the Salford bench, doing the Ryan Giggs shirt round the head celebration. Hey. Is Rhodri Giggs good at football?
I don't think it would have been appropriate to play him in this match.
That's up to you.
Imagine if they registered him, but just had him on the bench.
That'd have been...
City trying to get out of their funk by a big money new signing, and it's Rhodri Giggs. It's brilliant. You claim that wouldn't be good.
Rodri's back. Is he? Yeah. See what's going on here. Well, Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, they were also present.
He's 47, Rhodri Giggs. A bit of a rogue move, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, he is Ryan's brother. So he's not going to be... Anyway, the aforementioned Kyle Walker was left out of the game.
Yeah.
And Pep Guardiola has said that Kyle Walker has asked to explore the option to play abroad.
With Salford, presumably.
Well, that does classify as abroad if you're in the Republic of Manchester.
And it's probably his level at the moment.
So
it's a lovely canal.
Poor old guy. Yeah, he's been linked to AC Milan.
I think is that like a haven for English players now? Yeah. What's going on there?
I like it.
I like the idea of all the Man City players waving them off the one side of the canal to Salford.
Do you remember? You remember?
Like pushing him in a little boat like Romulus.
You remember the 3 Dutch players that were there? Rijkaard, Van Basten, and Gullit. And then if you in the history books, was it the 3 Swedes? Gunnar and Nordal.
3 Germans at Inter as well.
Yeah.
Klinsmann, Bremer and Matteo.
Fine.
So what's this, lads on tour?
Tomori, Loftus-Cheek, Abraham.
And Walker.
Rashford.
Well, but they've only got room for 1 more in the squad, and not that type of budget because it is Serie A. So would they go for Walker or Rashford? I think Rashford might be too hard to do. Walker's contract runs until the summer of 2026. You would imagine, though, with the... I think Guardiola would probably want to let him go for cheaper and basically go where he would want.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the club would allow
out of
that.
respect for his service.
Well, in the same way when Petr Cech wanted to move to Arsenal, the board didn't want to let him go there. But apparently Abramovich actually stepped in and said, no, he's been such a great servant for this club. He has earned the right to go where he wants to go.
Wasn't it Nicky Butt leaving United as well? Didn't ask for a fee for him.
Yeah, is that right?
To Newcastle,
So it could be that situation. Well, I don't know. That's very much sort of speculative thinking at the moment. But I think Walker, I mean, if he did go to, say, Serie A, I think he would do a bit of an Ashley Young and, maybe get Serie A, Scudetto and prolong his... Well, I suppose you could argue he was slightly
I think he needs a move.
He definitely, I think he needs a move. I think he's realised that and he's asked for one. He's got a lot of mouths to feed and a lot of people to keep happy, so he could go to Saudi to make sure the money goes a bit further.
Yeah.
I see.
They can't follow him.
I see. Vish, you'll say it out there, but when the microphone is in
What
front of
did
your
I say out
face...
here?
Well, how long have you got? How long have you got? Rolf Harris mostly it was about. Wasn't it, Marcus? It was about his mate being mates with Rolf Harris. So if you're going to come... you're going to step up to the mic, Vish. Step up there earlier.
Come on.
Step up there now.
Day. Where would you fancy Carl Walker to go? What do you reckon? I think Milan would be a great move. Oi, which one?
What did you say? What did he say?
Did you say Holmes?
Yeah.
Hey, I joined it in.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's it. Fine.
Milan would be a great
Real
move.
home wrecker of a second half, this, isn't it?
A lovely move. Be a lovely move for him. I think. All I think is I think he needs a move. And actually, I was thinking about this across the weekend when we had that question on the mailbag: which players need a move? I was annoyed that I forgot to say Carl Walker.
Well, now's your chance.
And I've said it now.
Well, I suppose it's like what more he wants from the game.
I think he wants a bit more.
Yeah, and I think playing abroad is a nice one. Your point about Serie A and, I suppose just ticking off another country, but also ticking off a different country,
I also think he wants
his career over here.
I also think he wants 100 England caps as well. He's got 93. And so...
that is genuinely under threat, isn't it?
Yeah,
could be.
So.
Could be, depending on where he goes.
Which I suppose makes the Saudi move less likely if that's
I think because he nearly left, of course, after they did the treble in 2023. Bayern were coming in from, and apparently he fancied a move, and Guardiola said, "No, come on, stay," and he signed that extension. So he has wanted to move, and I think he wants to play abroad. And Walker does strike me as a type of guy who wants to challenge himself further, not just kind of go for.
Come on,
for
stay. This time in 2 years we'll be sixth.
Yeah,
It's a different type of challenge.
Yeah.
Well, different type of challenge. What about trying really hard to qualify for the Conference League?
There's that.
Hey, you haven't done that before, have you?
I haven't won that trophy. So I don't know. Anyway, Walker, he may well leave in this window.
Too much coverage of Kyle Walker in that section for me, given he's not really played. So
I think half of it will come out, so I think we should be fine.
well, they're keeping the Rolf Harris bit in.
Coming up after this, Bromley scored at St James's Park and Exeter City are on the march. Gentlemen, Newcastle United 3, Bromley 1. Oh, but Bromley took the lead.
That's a lovely finish.
Beauty, absolute beauty. What I love about that is Congreve has got that now in his scrapbook. It's not the scrapbook. It's going on the mantelpiece. That isn't it?
Yeah,
just an iPad with a permanently with a goal. Permanently
you can get those like digital like photo things of where it just cycles. It's just that.
That's that
on a loop. Just a GIF.
Because it's not just the guys you say. It's an absolute beauty.
And also brilliantly, there's a great angle from behind him, and he hits it. He knows he's hit it well, and he veers off to celebrate. He's like, "Hold on, let me just check."
Yeah, like a golfer.
Yeah,
just put the tee up.
And then
that's fine.
They nearly got a second as well.
Yeah, right after.
My friend once scored a goal at Fratton Park, and he wore the VHS out, and now he can't watch it anymore. Because the technology back then was you just got a VHS tape of the game.
But that will exist somewhere, surely.
You'd hope so.
He needs to find them.
He does. The beautiful thing about Congreve's goal is that because of modern technology, he's never going to have to not see it.
Exactly.
But it was. You got to give some credit to Pete Donaldson actually, because he said, "I'll tell you what will happen. We'll struggle early on against Bromley, and Lewis Miley will bail us out," and he did.
Yeah,
he scored the equaliser and was man of the match.
It was a beauty. A beauty from Miley. Some lovely goals. Gordon scored a good one as well.
Yeah,
which is what we've come
off the bench as well.
Yeah, we'll come to.
No, Gordon scored a penalty, didn't he?
Sorry,
you mean Will Osula?
Osula scored.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused. Although I did think it was a good pen. But it was the first time that Bromley had played Premier League opposition in their history. Gave a good account of themselves.
They're doing historically well for the size of team they are.
Oh, they are.
I was very disappointed to hear their manager say that they go for a cheeky little Nando's every Friday before the game.
Oh God!
Are we still saying that? People still saying that? Are they?
Evidently.
Just go for a Nando's. Doesn't it got to be cheeky, is it?
No, it can't be cheeky anymore. No.
Nah.
Saucy.
Saucy Nando's. That works on a couple of levels. I should say that.
Yeah.
Vish does do a
saucy Saka Nando's.
Yeah, exactly. Saka's got his source there. Vish, Vish, you are a man who you love a cheeky little pre-drink, so don't you? Vish is a bit of a legend of the sesh, isn't he?
A bit of what?
Cheeky little pre-drinks.
What's that related to
Not
them,
with
though?
Rolf Harris. He's his friend. He wasn't his friend. He's his friend of a friend.
You're making sure it stays in the edit.
Which makes it so hard for the editor. They can't get it out.
If you keep referencing it, you've got to keep in the first reference.
No, but what I'm saying is, if people follow you on Instagram, it's full of cheeky prees, isn't it? Cheeky prees. Lovely. Here's the bottle of wine I'm drinking. A quick photo in the mirror at the gym. Check out my gains.
Yeah.
And
maybe a football one.
Yeah. And occasional
That's
one.
basically those three on a weekly basis.
Well, it's occasional one for the ladies, isn't it?
What's one for the ladies?
Tuck t-shirt on at the gym or something.
Yeah.
Well, it's from a distance always.
Yeah, because it's seductive, isn't it?
If he's too tight, probably not.
Yeah, it's for the ladies, but you're married, so it's from a distance.
Yeah, it's seductive, but not, it's like...
It's like
I know what you like, but you can't.
She hasn't got me banged.
Yeah.
I like Cole Walker. She hasn't got me banged to right. Can't prove a thing.
Oh dear, a legend of the sesh. Though.
Why don't you email in at hello? What's the email address again?
Show@footballramble.com. Hello.
Email in and let us know.
Hey@footballramble.com.
Email in and let us. It's like when Pete always used to do the Absolute Radio email on the Ramble every single week because he couldn't get out the mode.
That was fine because we could edit it out. The other way around, it was live radio.
Just email in.
You up at footballramble.com.
and just tell us what you think of Vish's Instagram.
Yeah.
Just give us a run.
You'll get more followers.
You will. Which is what you want, isn't it?
Yeah. Vish.
I don't know.
You know, Carl Walker's going for 100 caps. How many Instagram followers are you going
There
for?
you go. Wait, the thing is, don't do that. You put it out there.
Yeah.
No, but I don't send more people to it. I'm kind of happy with because you post on stories. It doesn't really go anywhere, does it?
Oh, you always say you want quality, not quantity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to be honest, there's been a dearth of quality in terms of any followers.
Yeah,
thanks to the
So
Ramble.
Vish has got time recording. Vish has got 6,628 followers. Let's get that up. Let's find the people out there who love Short Kings, who love Legends of the Sesh, and who love men doing workouts on Instagram in the gym.
There you are. You see.
I posted a photo of me watching A Few Good Men for the first time.
Oh
this weekend.
Nice.
That can't be the first time you've watched it, you moron.
That was Marcus. This is the best thing Vish did on Instagram recently. That him and his brother in
England, 98.
World Cup
England,
98 England kits.
That's nice.
Brilliant.
It's very good. It's very good.
Very nice. Anyway, sorry, I've derailed it.
But well done to Bromley though. It was their big moment on the TV and on the Ramble, and that's what they. What I love about this, it was up at Newcastle. Bromley being, of course, not just a South London side, that extra train journey to King's Cross, of course. So it would have been a proper adventure for them, all the away fans and that going up there. It would have been
lovely
great.
stuff.
Would have been great, and to score the first goal, although the lead only lasted for 8 minutes. What an 8 minutes!
And can I just weigh in with something on the Newcastle side, if you don't mind? That's Newcastle's 8th win in a row.
Oh yeah,
they've got a really good chance, I think, of possibly getting right up there to 13 or 14 wins in a row, which I'm presumably is some kind of club record. I don't know, but it could be because they've got Wolves at home next, then Bournemouth at home. Then they play Southampton. They've got a voucher next after that.
Yeah, Bournemouth at home though, tricky.
Fulham at home as well.
Ah, well, nil point. Exeter City 3, Oxford United 1. Exeter City have reached the FA Cup fourth round for the first time in 44 years.
The Grecians.
How about that? Yes, they, of course, Oxford United are 21 places above them in the Championship, like Exeter in League One. So it was a cup set. It goes down as a cup set.
Absolutely.
And nice to see Gary Caldwell back on the TV as Exeter City manager. He wasn't born the last time Exeter made the FA Cup fourth round, which of course was in 1981, although he looked like he probably... you could be forgiven for thinking he was born.
Can I also just add this, and I don't want to slag you off, but you say it's nice to see Gary Caldwell back on the TV. I've never once in my whole life sat around and gone... I wish I could see a bit more Gary Caldwell on the TV.
Yeah, you're sitting there thinking, when are we going to get some repeats of Rolf's Cartoon Club?
This is me seeing Gary Caldwell on the TV for the first time.
Right.
Just carry on what I'm doing.
Presumably
you're
never.
Presumably you're looking at your phone. Is that Stephen or Gary Caldwell?
Yeah, exactly. First of all, which one, it'll come up Gary Caldwell, which will be very helpful for me because I won't know.
I think you looked at that and went, there's Gary Caldwell.
Well, you looked at it and went, is that Gary Caldwell's dad? For the sounds of it.
He said, before the game, I looked at some other things that happened in 1981. The first computer came out. Only Fools and Horses started, one for Pete Donaldson. Muhammad Ali had his last fight. Incredible longevity to the man's career.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show the players how long ago it was, just to give them that feeling that it was a big day. Opportunities like this in football don't come along often.
But
A home game against Oxford United.
Oh, come on.
He looked at he looked at those references to put across how long it's been. Who remembers Only Fools and Horses? Well, I don't.
Oh, can they
Well, that started in 1981.
No, Only Fools and Horses. Imagine by John Lennon was number one at the time.
Yeah, he said something about Imagine John Lennon as well, and I was like, wait, what fucking difference does it make?
The first computer coming out's a good one.
It's interesting. I just don't see what is relevant to a bunch of footballers, though.
But he just said it was like, this is such a huge thing. It's been so long. And then he gave examples of how long it's been.
That's all very Statman Dave, that, isn't it?
It is a bit.
I used to know him when he was just called Dave.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought you meant John Lennon then. I was like, well, he changed his name from Dave.
I've never met John Lennon.
Get out of bed. Come on.
Oh, Imagine by
He
John
said,
Lennon.
I'm only sleeping.
Is it fair enough? That's good.
Thanks.
Is it fair enough to say Imagine by John Lennon is one of the worst songs of all time? It's absolutely horrendous.
It's not a great song.
It's horrendous.
What about Exeter City, though?
They did well. They scored some good goals.
You didn't give Bromley their praise.
Well, they got beaten. That's why.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Exeter
Losers. Absolute losers.
It was prime for Exeter to do something because Oxford have found it tough. I think they got promoted to the Championship a bit unexpectedly.
They did.
They obviously managed to take a point off Portsmouth early on, but they got on a terrible run where they had to sack their manager. Going to Exeter City, closed in ground, long way to go, etc. Exeter City really tapped into it, scored, like I say, 2 of the 3 goals were really good quality. And, good on them. It is an upset. It has to be considered an upset because you've beaten a team in the league above. But Oxford aren't that good, is all I'm saying.
All right. Well, there we are.
Although, they've now got Gary Rowett, which is an amazing get for them.
Yeah,
it is, yeah.
Because he was very unfortunate to lose his last job, of course, and he's turned down some jobs since then. And for him to get in there, he's improved them massively in terms of their league form already. So on balance, I suppose I will give Exeter City their credit.
Yeah.
Do we know from producer Tom if this is like all being celebrated? This weekend's been celebrated in Devon.
Well,
of course it is.
Two teams through.
Yeah, we have a producer called Tom who is a massive Exeter City
I don't think
man.
he cares about Plymouth doing well.
Yeah.
But they have got Exeter. Have got Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, but
That's a great draw. They've got Forest at home in the next round.
But in the way that Jim's obviously an Arsenal fan, but when Spurs do really well, it's good for North London, isn't it?
True, yeah.
So I just wondered if that was the same for Devon.
I mean, in theory, Spurs never done really that well. So it's not to say.
But that's why it's just better for the area.
Find out on
of North
Wednesday.
London.
But I
So
think
it'll just be a big party on Wednesday night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like carnival.
Wonderful for Exeter City that they will host Forest in the next round.
Brilliant.
Celebrating that landmark with Nuno's men.
I think,
Also, just to put it out there, if Forest keep it, how well they're doing, when it gets to that point in February, that second week of February for this tie, where they might think, oh God, we really want to hold on to Champions League here, rest some players.
Pick of the next round for me has got to be Southampton at home to Burnley. I wonder if that'll be on telly.
Scotty Parker. Well, there we are. The third round. I mean, it's obviously we've got the game tonight, but it's nearly wrapped up. And I would just like to say to everyone in the studio, hands up if you're still in the cup. That'll be just the Premier League boys then.
Portsmouth rolled over on Friday night, pretty predictably, and conceded the goal by a player who used to play for them. So everything that happens like that at the moment.
Everything that can go wrong. Yeah. Will bloody go wrong.
There's also they lost to Wycombe Wanderers away from home. A rerun of what I used to call, me and my friend who's a Wycombe fan used to call the death of football derby when Wycombe played Portsmouth.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I think
Wycombe are very much still alive.
I think I know the friend.